Religion is something that comes from within. First of all, you shouldn't be judging anyone anyway. Covering my hair is a sign of my modesty.
You can't sit on both sides of the fence. You've got to say, oh, I want to wear this.
So much terrorism and all those things are going on.
You can't go and make exceptions.
By wearing the hijab, it doesn't show like, oh, they're a bit of Muslim or they're, a bad Muslim.
It's essentially a piece of cloth.
You shouldn't be told to even take it off.
Well, if they don't want to show their face, then that's up to them personally.
Sometimes it can be a bit bad because you don't know who's under there.
With society becoming more diverse, the Western world is gradually familiarising itself with cultures other than its own. In the media, we are shown different attitudes towards what some people would call freedom of expression and others would call oppression. At first glance, we judge people by their appearances more than we'd like to admit, which doesn't bode well for those diverging from the norm of the culture they reside in. The hijab is a prominent example of this, as it is the most recognisable symbol of Islam, which leads to the question, does the hijab have a place in the Western culture?
I think it has.
Yes. Oh, pass.
I don't know.
I think it has its place. I absolutely respect, but don't understand really fully an Islamic kind of rationale for women wearing hijab. I mean, the problem with it always is it seems to discriminate against women. That's the big problem. But that's not presumably how it's experienced by Islamic women.
Yeah, why not? It's like a completely multicultural society, and it'd be really, really full without different cultures. So yeah, absolutely. Like, we shouldn't seek to get rid of any aspect of another culture. We should embrace it.
What does it mean to you to wear a hijab?
It means respect. It means a lot. It actually represents my religion and my culture and the way I've been brought up, and it does reflect on my parents a lot, as they would like to show their children as very respectable and well brought up, and it means a lot. It does mean a lot.
How does it make you feel when you see a Muslim woman covered up in public?
Respect. If it's her faith, then why should we be feeling anything against it? It's her faith. She's got a right to do what she wants. Free right, so why not?
Why would we have thoughts? It's who we will have thoughts. It's not our choice. So
We cannot judge anyone.
Yeah, it's his thoughts. If someone at the end of this not wearing, it's he or she that's accountable.
To me, I don't really mind because I know that they're following their own religions.
Occasionally, I'm a bit disconcerted because it seems so kind of contrary to, well, I'd say nature in a way, to be so kind of enclosed and cut off from just the outside world.
Do you believe not wearing a hijab makes you less dedicated to your religion?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like my other half, she's Muslim, but I'm not. You know what I mean? And she don't wear a headscarf. You know what I mean? No, I don't think that at all.
I don't believe in that. There's many women out there that don't wear hijab, but yet they have very clean hearts. And it's not the way you look exactly, it's the way you are inside. If you've got a good personality, good heart, the way you speak, treat others, then it's not really about appearance. Appearance does come into it, but firstly it starts from the heart.
If she wears, if she not wearing, I'm not gonna complain about her. Then why not you wearing? It's just her opinion. If she wanted to, okay. If she doesn't wanna, no problem. Because this is your subject matter, not mine. As long as you're a good person, I'm fine.
The only time I've felt oppressed in my entire life is when I've been walking on the streets in Bristol and people have, attacked me for wearing a hijab. And that's the only time in my whole life that I felt oppressed.
Manners, go back to your country where they're bombing every day and go there. Don't come here where we're free and have to bring do you understand me? Shut your mouth. No, we're just looking to you. Shut up with your buttons. Look at your guns. You come into England taking the money, but you don't take the safety.
You have mothers coming up to you, and I think actually, who come up to you and they're like, oh, I don't feel comfortable with my kid being on the same street as you. And it's like, what do you want me to do? I've just been walking here minding my own business. You've come up to me with your child to tell me that you don't feel comfortable. Some people you're just walking along on the road and they're like, oh, something happened in the news, and they'd be like, oh, I feel like just, chopping your head off and using it as a decoration thing in my garden. So when the soldier beheading happened in London, then every 6 months there's something in the news. And it's like, well, I've got nothing to do with what happened. They were some crazy people. They say what they said in the name of Islam. Like, that's not my religion. That's not me. That's not my problem. Why do I have to face the backlash? Like, why am I walking around like scared that, okay, something's happened in the news. I better wear a hoodie over my scarf so that people don't recognize the scarf. Which is really sad. That was the only time in my life that I felt, oh, maybe I should take it off. Is it really worth me putting this hijab on? Because, you know what, I'm doing this for my God, and I know it's difficult to put it on. And if I'm facing too many problems, then maybe it's better for me to take it off. And that was the only time that I felt like, oh my God, I'm being forced to do something. And I shouldn't give in to that. A lot of the times, especially with airport security, you get racially profiled, so you're more likely to be taken away if you seem brown or Muslim. So it's just that everything should be fair.
Do you think Muslim women should be subjected to the same security laws as other people?
100%. You shouldn't exclude them because they were if they're going through security in an airport, I think they should definitely get searched exactly the same, or anywhere, just the same as anyone else.
No, that's obviously not okay. That's their religion. And then you ask someone to just do that, maybe they're not comfortable with it.
So you can take them into a room and
just ask them privately.
Yeah, I think that everyone should be treated equally, and they should all be given the same opportunities and treated the same way.
I think maybe provisions should be made for them in those areas, but fundamentally they probably should, because otherwise it could come to the point where people will exploit something like that. Maybe people that aren't Muslim, maybe other people will see that as an opportunity.
Ultimately, you have to respect the people. They're just doing their jobs, and they're listening to orders from another person. So I think that people should cooperate if it's reasonable. So if you do have a woman who is checking you to ensure security, I don't think there's a problem with that.
With several EU countries already having banned the burqa and petitions elsewhere to do the same, we now pose the question, should the burqa be banned in the UK?
This is not part of Islam. I mean, this notion that somehow they have a human right to have that. I don't have the human right to go to cover my face down the road. So why do we have a situation in this country where we're supposed to have a gender equal society, where we have women be able to have a face mask and men not? I mean, either we have face masking for all or we ban it for everyone.
A lot of people, it's only going to reinforce negative attitudes towards burqa and Islam in general, and it won't necessarily help in any way. I'd say the pluses to doing it that people will argue, such as security and monitoring, they don't match up to the negatives it would have just on society in general.
Banning things is the last resort of desperate people.
There are definitely two sides to it, but it just seems like a big step in the wrong direction.
You shouldn't be told to even take it off, because respect is important, and that comes under respect.
I think it just goes back to being able to exercise your freedom of choice and being able to wear where you feel comfortable. That liberates you.
All of it is, when you start banning things, you're taking away individual freedom.
Is it something to fear about the whole niqab or something? Or is it fear about Islam?